because consumers are now looking for simple, easy, something that is very similar. That's how
Play
algorithms
on
really
TikTok.
work. Welcome to the Style and Vibes podcast with me, Michaela. I'll be giving you the inside scoop on music, fashion, culture, and more from Caribbean celebrities and tastemakers across the globe, pushing our culture with authenticity and, of course, style and vibes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Style and Vibes podcast with yours truly, Michaela. If you are new here, welcome to the family. If you are coming back, welcome, family. And I am joined by the extended family, Carrie Ann Reed Brown. You guys know her as the executive producer for Style and Vibes, and she was just on our last episode. So this is kind of like a continuation of that because we had so much to talk about with music discovery, especially keeping up with the new music, and we were kind of discussing it from our perspective and wanted to bring in our good friend Mikey T. Wagwan Mikey T. So Mikey T has been on the podcast before. He joined us in the commentary on the One Love movie. He is a filmmaker himself. We've had reviewed his documentary, A Jamaica Story, on Reels and Rhythms. Quick plug for that podcast there with me and Carrie Ann Reed Brown. So if you have not already subscribed, make sure you guys go subscribe to that and check out Jamaica Story. But welcome, Mikey T, to the Style and Vibes family.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies, for having me. Really, music, I love it. I love it. It's interesting. Very interesting
Yes.
topic.
So you had almost like a preview of that episode that we recorded, and I know that you and Carrie, you have to give us the insight because we did a talking at the community, but me know say you have a little more insight to the conversation. So Carrie.
All right, so quick backstory. So me did ask the community how them did feel about, like when them reach a certain age, like what aspects of the culture that they are evolving away from, not totally giving up. And I did a poll, and then when I posted the results of the poll that most people were kind of, moving away from music, Mikey T reply and said, me have a whole world of comment about people who have issue with music and the music is slack. I'm say, you know what, you're not gonna get an argument from me there, because the argument that the music now of today is too slack just doesn't live. We can rebut that argument in so many ways from 1980 to now. So, but I said it was a little bit more nuanced than that. And, I know Mikey T has a lot to say about that. So that's really the cliff notes of that conversation.
So in your perspective, Mikey T, from the commentary around the survey itself to listening to our podcast and the conversation, tell me about your thoughts on today's music coming out of dancehall and kind of your understanding in terms of discovery, and what do you think as a consumer and a lover of the culture, what is happening there?
Okay, yeah, it's a tall order, but I have my notes here. I definitely have my notes. But I think dance hall music for the most part is exactly where it needs to be. And I think a lot of people forget the anthropologic part of music, where a lot of people are telling their stories and telling their realities. I think what tends to happen though is when the growth of music going from, okay, this is where I came from. Now I'm going through this transition. What does that music look like? Steering away from the struggle, steering away from the one shirt and the one shoes and mommy hungry and stuff like that. How do we grow the music to where we feel just as good listening to the positive side of music? And I think that's where dancehall is missing what reggae has captured. Yes, we understand you have come from the struggle, but at some point, brother, when I see you at 10 different parties with $5,000 coils in your pocket, you can't keep telling me, say, you're struggling. And you can't be chopping that much money and Mocha hasn't picked you up yet. So there is a disconnect into where telling a story of my reality to then glorifying a situation that is wrongdoing. I get it. You may have come from XYZ, and we need to have that conversation. And that's why I said, like, even when it comes to scamming songs, which a lot of people aren't okay with, I always ask the take. And when my friends send me music, I'm like, are you speaking of something that you grew up seeing, or are you trying to glorify and trying to make some quick sales? Because one of the things that tend to happen, and you guys spoke about like the discovery of music, when you went to the party and the DJ would play some new music and test out the crowd, and you say, oh, what song is this? And conversation starts to bubble about music. But one of the things that tend to be happening, I'm not sure if it's here in the diaspora as much, but heavy in Jamaica, DJs are going to certain parties and they don't care whether they get paid or not, because they are playing for the money pull up. And the money pull up isn't going to come from the new artist being played. The money pull up is going to come from the chopper song. Because when you play the chopper song, a chopper's gonna come and he's going to put a 5,000, he's going to put a $10,000 on your console. And then when that chopper put $10,000 on your console, you hear the DJ, why man just come drop $10,000. Next one has to reach. And you don't know what money is reaching there. And then you hear it, why US touching the console, $100 US for money pull up. So now nobody is thinking to come to the console unless they have 100 US or more. And they're creating this environment where they're trying to just make their money. They're not trying to spread the love of music. They're trying to get paid in a way that they feel is substantial to them. So I think that's where life is, we're running down the money because we want to live the lifestyle, and we're forgetting the part of it is the art and the music.
You said something there that I think Michaela and I we've talked about what dancehall is missing, and we can say hip hop is missing some of that too, right?
I was
And
just going to say, it's not
not
just
just
Yeah.
dancehall.
our
Yeah,
genre,
yeah.
right? It's across the
It's
board. I
global.
even watched a TikTok today that was asking about where is the happy Afro beats
Yes,
music?
yes, yes.
Mhm.
So it's a
It's across.
trend
Mhm.
Yeah.
across Black music that is
Yes.
popular. And Mikey T, go ahead, Carrie. I want to come back to that point, but Carrie, go ahead.
No, it's to that point, right? Remember in hip hop you had the Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff character. In dancehall you had the Snagga Puss. You had the Professor Nuts. You had those who were comedians but were, creating music. And there you don't have that anymore. You had, like, okay, if you wanted to hear a song, right, you had your Snagga Puss, and if you want, you have your pie, you have your gun tune, you have your gal tune, you have all these other things. And, that diversity is, we feel like is no longer there. And that diversity came together through what? Rhythms, right? So on one rhythm, you go have a tati, and then you go have, Guanga bury your dead, and I go down. And we kind of miss those critical ingredients. And that's kind of why people are just, one of the reasons why people are nostalgic, and they're like, music not good. And I'm not saying good music not gonna play it either, we've already established that. But you're right, like the different types of music, the happy, the fun aspects of music.
And even the differentiation between the artists on one rhythm, right? Because if you have 10 scammer artists dep on one rhythm, they all sound the same. The contents, the lyrical flow, the content of what they're saying, and just the melodic. So there is no need for a rhythm if they all sound the same. There's nothing distinct about each artist on a rhythm where they all sound the same. And I think that's why when Russian resurged his rhythm, and there was a variety of people, almost like a competition trying to be on the rhythm, it was because, one, it was nostalgic, two, every artist was giving a completely different energy. So to your point, Carrie, I think the idea of rhythms from a popularity standpoint, that resurgence can still happen, but as a producer you need to voice variety and not just pick. But Mikey T, you brought up a really good point about money pull up. I mean, it's not like money pull up never existed, it's always been the case,
Oh,
but there was still variety in that pull up. And
mm,
the other idea behind money pull up is because it's almost like it's not necessarily that that song is good, it's just what the person with the most money wants to hear,
mm-hmm. And
right?
that is the essence of it.
And that is the essence of it,
So
right? And
let's look at
sometimes it's
those.
good and sometimes it's
Yeah,
not.
because
So
majority of the time, and majority of the time, the person with the most money, especially when you go into the local parties and the local scene, the person with the most money tends to be the person who's who's the chopper.
yeah.
And what you said in the other episode that was very interesting, and I never paid attention to, but I do understand it, is the vast amounts of music that is coming out. The little equipment, like this laptop that I have on my desk, and I can buy a $200 plug-in and a $200 microphone, and I can record music. I can put out music. Chronic Law puts out a song almost every day. And not only a song, but he's constantly putting out songs, and he's constantly putting out music videos, because there isn't that gatekeeping. So even if a producer holds and cherishes his rhythm like they used to, the dance artists be like, yo brother, me just go on YouTube and download one tune, and when if it busts, it busts. And that's what happens to a lot of them. And then when you guys were even talking about the clean music and Vybz Cartel being that kind of last era where people used to do the radio edits, I think, like you guys said, because there's so much new music coming out, and because people want to constantly hear new music, am I going to spend time actually writing and redoing my song to make a clean version to go on the radio that nobody listens to? Or am I just going to edit whatever so that the kids can look it up on YouTube and play that version of the song? As long as it's not saying the bad words, the parents are fine. And that's what they end up doing. And I guess we're running into this era where there's too much access, where you kind of sort of do need a little bit of a gatekeeper, because th- I just seen, I don't even know the young kid's name, but there's this young kid that was all over social media, came out with some song, did something, and I saw him post another new song, and I'm just like, I have no idea what this child is talking about, but it's just, you can tell he's trying to regurgitate the music that he's heard. And it's sad. It's sad when there isn't a world for everybody to be able to write a song. If Granny wake up one day, Granny should be able to get on a dance hall beat and be able to sing whatever she wants to sing, because there should be that essence of storytelling and joy and fun that comes from our music. And when I say dance hall and stuff like that, I apologize. I don't mean only dance hall is doing this, but it is the genre that I delve in the most. So that tends to just, because like you guys said, they're all black or African diaspora and African music coming from us tend to drift into this world where it's like, yo, if you ain't talking about the ghetto, if you're not talking about struggles, or you're not talking about this, you're not talking about real music. And it's like, I want to be happy too sometimes. Like, I have people that go to carnival all over. People don't want to go to the Kingston Carnival as much, because it's like they don't want to hear a dance hall song talking about poverty, talking about scamming, and talking about guns. They go to carnival to dance, have a good time, and listen to songs about just straight partying. And we're kind of losing that fun aspect. Go ahead.
I just wanted to sing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, bembe. I mean, like, energy, vibe. Like, that's what I want to
Mhm.
hear. Like,
And
And I think that's also a key theme is variety, because I liken a lot of the scammer chopper music to the gunman tune that we grew up with. You know what I mean? And the slackness has always been there, right? It's just it's a little bit more, it's in your face, it's very raw, it's very, so I totally understand but where the opportunity is missed is the variety, because it's not like we haven't had, like, Governor is an artist that has tried to bring storytelling.
mhm,
Idonia is another one, Conscience is another one. Like, they constantly do a variety of gal tune, fun tune, party tune, um tune for the man them.
they
Like
did.
they do the variety, but it doesn't get the same response as like a Skeng or a Chronic Law. And like for me, Chronic Law, like I think he's lyrically talented, but it's just too dark for where I am in my life at this point. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of the music is just, not only is the rhythms are very dark and very heavy, but then you couple that with the lyrical content and the delivery. Because if you think of Mavado, like when early Mavado, you know what I'm saying? I'm on the rock. Like he's literally
Mhm,
singing because he's in this suffering situation, but he so melodically comes out of a space, and the rhythm is hard. Like it's
mhm,
not a soft. If you think about Angry or Management, like we get excited when we hear that rhythm. You know what I mean? And it's not just the rhythm; it's the lyrical war, verbal war that is happening, that it is also coupled with the variety. Full clip to be like it's just like
no,
you get excited. Like that's my era of variety. Go ahead,
But
Terry.
the variety has always been there. You had gun tune beanie, you
Yes,
have gal tune beanie.
Beanie. Yes,
Wait, bounty, bulletproof, forehead and head and everything.
yo,
But
yes. Your
you
eyes can
had
see more clear
clear. You understand?
as
Like
long as you're
not
standing
in
there.
there. Exactly, right? You
Yes,
had that bounty as
yes,
well.
yes.
And it's like there's always been variety, even like there's a love song, right? Like Spraga says, search out them ends and seek. That's a love song. You understand me? I say, but I get the love song. Like he said, if you ever see a girl in shorts or slippers looking like her in a setters, you visualize it. Yes, me know the
Yes.
girl with the setters I walk. But like everything is just um this one tone, and it's like, yo, yeah, as an artist you have dimension, you have fun, don't it? You fall in love, don't it? you
mhm,
you, you know you have hard times, and like show that variety. And what we're not seeing is that variety, but that's always been part of the music.
Yeah.
Michaela knows this. Like I go back to being to bone, not Bounty Killer, not even Beanie Man, the Bees, them, Buju Banton, Voice of Jamaica. Like you're going to go through a wave of emotions in there. It might sing one PSA song about, safe sex. It might sing one song about how everything, something wicked. It might sing about the poorty. Girl, you make my day. He's in love. And that's like, we need that variety. And that's kind of why some artists, they have that longevity, because they have a variety of music that even when you're at a particular stage in life and you're happy, I could pull a tune from a particular artist to represent how I feel or where I am in a stage in my life. And that is essentially what's missing. You can't sing about your other song then, but if you're
mhm.
happy, sing a happy song.
But you
Nothing
know
long.
what's crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know you guys spoke about Gage last time and all the backlash it reached for doing that, and a lot of people don't remember that period of Gage when he stopped bleaching and he sung pure conscious music.
And
He
then
had
him go
this
back go bleach because it's not
because he
popular
wasn't getting
again.
no bookings. He is a
Yes,
man who needs. He had this
yes.
song: "Weed, money, girls, honey, house and car and land for me friends and me family. If you
Mm-hmm.
know one of them, then like." He had this stretch where he was just talking pure conscious music and he wasn't getting booked anywhere. And when did gays
The
start coming
moment
back?
him bleach his face
Really
and
bleaching
beard
and
at
they
his
come
part,
on TikTok
yes,
and cuss and him a bad
yes,
man and you this and
yes,
that. Gage
yes.
is back on, people are talking about him. So it is funny. And with the
It's
running
not funny. I think it's almost like this, like there's this lack of understanding complex
people.
thoughts, expressing complex thoughts through song,
Mm-hmm.
complex passages, reading, like comprehension wise,
Yeah,
right?
because
For younger adult, because video and audio play such a big part in the role of learning, that not only is the education kind of coming down in terms of the delivery, but that also in turn waters down the lyrical creative content of the songs. And I think it's something that we didn't really discuss, and we have to take that into consideration because consumers are now looking for simple, easy, something that is very similar. That's how
play
algorithms
on
really
TikTok.
work. Right. And so, but it's not just TikTok, it's media, it's
Hmm.
reading, it's like people don't read books like they used to, people don't read articles the way that they used to. The articles, like, I mean, I was talking to Carrie the other day, I'm like, this article isn't even 250 words. There's so many grammatical errors. And this is on like a big publication of a website. Like I think that those things cannot be pushed aside. So the music is also reflecting where society is from a consumption standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
The music, except for Bounty Killer, vocabulary,
Killer,
and
killer, killer,
Ti. Ti,
killer,
Yeah,
yo,
killer
yeah.
is
me
on a
say,
next
yo,
level.
Ti
Necessary.
and Bounty always have some big word. Me say, where they come from
But
with this?
And
it's
Spice,
funny.
and Spice.
It's
I
And
it,
said,
listen,
we there. Me not know that word, yeah. Let me go look it
listen,
up.
let me tell you who started when both our Beanie Man say, girl, you're full of etiquette. Me say, oh, no, I mean, we're laughing, but again,
but
you're
no,
right.
it's true.
It's true.
Think
Like
about
they're
the
using big words, and me can guarantee if you always hear a big word and you have to question what the word they mean. Is that a real word? Ti,
Yes,
I'm about to killer. Ever go
Mhm.
say something you're gonna be like,
yes.
dictionary app,
And
come.
to like make up words, you have to know where the origin comes from, like and the
Mhm.
context of that. So that's why I said like Vibes Cartel is kind of the last of an era to kind of lyrically play on words and flows.
But then you have
And
to think about
Vibes
it.
Cartel pass CXC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
in
course. What you
English, he
mean
get
Vybz
no,
Kartel?
yo, it's
Vybz
subjects. He get
Kartel
his
can't
subjects
tell
in a
me.
English.
ca-
In,
But but
but
then but then
that's
people
what
don't talk about it.
rhyming is. That's what songs are. They're poems. They're poetic, and people
But you know what's
forget that these
crazy?
are art forms that should, reflect some sort of intelligence. Like if you're gonna tell a story, if you're gonna tell a bad man story, tell the story, no man.
Mhm.
Give
But
me the
that's the
visuals, like give me a. But again, I'm asking for that as a person who comes from an era that was the norm. The next generation, that's not necessarily the norm
their
because they're
norm.
more visually driven
Mhm.
by the images that they see on their phone screens or tablets or computers. And so they're but I can't even say that all of the like, there's some creative videos. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen some really good ones, but if they all look and feel and sound the same, like to me, I just can't.
You can't take it.
I can't get with it. But
But
I understand it, and I let the people who like it rock. But that doesn't mean I think it's good.
But you got to think about it, even when it comes to Vibes Cartel, because there, like we said, there comes a point where money has to come into play. I I pay attention to everything Vibes Cartel does, and you know what? One thing Vibes Cartel is going to do that a lot of people don't pay attention to, he's going to try everything, even if it don't work. When Tommy Lee came out and he was Uncle Demon, don't nobody remember Father Devil. Vibes
Nobody
Cartel
likes
tried.
it until him get
He
cartel endorsement.
But no, Uncle Demon worked, and then Vybz Kartel tried to do the song "Father Devil," and
Yes.
people heard it and was like, "No," and you never heard that song ever again. And he's doing it now, even when it comes because I seen it. previewing some song I think he did with one of his songs since he been out of jail, and Vybz Kartel talking about he called somebody on his iPhone and he never get no dial tone, and I was like, sir, please stop. You are 49 years
Let
old.
the man Tony talk about Tommy.
Oh, I'm not talking about Tommy. No, but
Oh.
remember, what's his name from Born Jamaicans talked about how, when he link up with the Mobile DJ
Yeah.
and he start DJ in a more nasally type way, like that's the influence that Cartel did and it worked, he had some hits from that and it worked for him.
Yeah, no,
So
he's a
you're right,
holding stride.
he's willing to take
He's going to
a
experiment
risk,
with what's
an
working.
experiment, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, a perfect example. It's one of his biggest hits, and he took something that every little pitney of Jamaica know when they say to speak gypsy. Like that,
yes.
Philip, like me. I wasn't one of those kids who know if see my grandmother looked at me and said, "Stop it,"
Yes.
but stop it.
Stop it.
Yes, right. But he took something that was inherently part of a culture where even if you don't know how to speak it, you know what it is, and you put it in a one song, and it's his biggest what is highest charting song in his career.
Yeah.
Like he was playing, Fever, like all over the place. So you are right about his willingness to experiment.
Yeah, no, because you got to think about it. Like, would a lot of Vybz Kartel songs make it in today's day and age? Because where would you dance to it? Tell me why, Miss A Big Yard. Ling. Like, where would that work in TikTok? But everybody, I remember when I forgot which one it was, Nabada Tribe. When I remember I saw a video of that and I sent it to everybody I do in my age group. And I'm like, yo, where were you? Where was your greatest memory of hearing this Vybz Kartel song? And everybody wrote me back. It was like, oh, those were my days back when I was clubbing, and you're in the club and you hear that vibe. Tell them nobody try, call them nobody that I. Everybody. And and that's what I meant by part of it, where music is also nostalgia. Because I seen Dale Elliott talking about it, where when he was going to Huey, when Alkaline came out and he had a song, after all, dog, just a weird pun a car, Ford looking on the wall. Like, he remembers that song because at Huey, when that song played, the DJ cut off the music and everybody sung it. You guys might not know that song. Me, I've been listening to Alkaline since he was in high school still, before he graduated.
When he had the black eyes.
Before he had the black eyes, long before he was. And then I remember when he did the black eye thing, and Alkaline always used to sing in his songs when he put the black eyes in 2016, and it was 2014, and everybody's like, yo, what's going on? What's about to happen? And I remember being with my friends 2015 New Year's Eve, and when 2016, they're like, Mike, you can finally sing this part of the song now because it makes sense, like, and there's always that magic and that nostalgia of music, and people forget there's going to be a lot of songs that come and go, and there's a lot of songs from back in the days that people don't know. I know a few songs like Fab Five and like those songs, and it's like, I'm sure there was a lot of other musicians coming out. I know Lieutenant Stitchy, but I'm sure there was a lot of musicians that came out that people were like, oh, this is, everybody was listening to it, but did it carry over?
Yeah.
And when you try to match nostalgia with everything that's coming out, especially like you said, in a generation where more music is coming out in a month than came out in a year, it's rough, because a lot of BS is going to slip through it.
Yeah.
And I was telling Carrie, because I was watching a podcast, and I guess Lloyd Lang, I guess he's on IG as
Reggaeology. Yeah.
And I was listening to his podcast. I was like, yo, like, he spoke about like the diaspora bubble and like the music industry and algorithms and how you have to play more to algorithms than you play to people, which is, I guess, good in a way because there aren't as many gatekeepers, but it's bad in a way because it kind of crushes creativity because everybody's rushing to get the next big hit to get money.
I
So
think that there's definitely going to be a resurgence of going back to live music in order to combat a lot. Because now I talked a bit in a previous episode about like AI and how good it's getting at creating. But I think that the actual experience of creating music, not just beat making, but actually playing instruments and being able to transition, like incorporate digital elements into a live show. And I would not even be surprised if we get so far as to there are going to be artists who who do not release their like Prince don't release their music on any streaming platform, and you have to go and see them live in order to see that.
that'd be really dope.
As like a marketing, like you can't access any of my music. You have to come to my show.
And
Like
and
I
why
feel like
not?
that's a Beyonce, like that's Beyonce's next move. I'm not releasing
Mhm.
any more albums. I have enough. You need to come and see me in person, and you're gonna get all this new clips might go around, but they're gonna be taken right down, and you can't have it. And it's in this exclusive package that only the artists can distribute. I think that's where we're going
Which would
because
be
AI is getting way too good. The algorithms, people are just tired of the same old, same old. And so
Mhm.
the only way to get something different is to seek out something different. And I think that the next generation is going to be seeking differentiation heavily.
Of
And
course.
gatekeeping is all the way coming back.
Yeah, no, I think you need
It
it.
have to come back.
It
There
has
is
to because it's
listen,
too much.
listen,
It's too
listen,
much.
listen. This is the biggest lesson now when Fly the Gate gone wrong.
People need that because sometimes I get some music and some yo dog, listen to the new tune, and you're like,
Mm-mm.
you needed a producer to tell you no. You needed somebody
Yes.
other than your dogs that was
Yes.
drunk and high with you
And that is
and
the
just hype
problem.
that they were there. And that's the goes to show you how nostalgia works. Because
Yeah.
somebody will say, yo, listen to my brother's tune. And brother, you're just happy about this because y'all had a good time making this. This is garbage.
Yes.
But
Yes.
y'all had and I'm happy for you that you had a good time making it. But nobody, no,
Like I voice the tune, and it's only certain people hear the tune, and Michaela knows the tune. All right, it's my birthday song, and nobody will ever hear that song.
listen, I did some raps with my cousin when my cousin came up here. He had his computer and things, and we did, and I'm like, oh yeah, never will I ever, never will this see the light of day. But it is fun, but there
Yeah.
needs to be a little gatekeeping. And I always find it funny because I tell people over the last 2 years, I have seen the trajectory and the moves that seem to be happening with dancehall artists. So what tends to happen is you get a one song, you get a buzz. Then when you start to get a buzz, then you start getting bookings at local parties in your parish. After you get the parties in your local parish, then you're gonna get a call because they tend to come from either a lot of they come from a lot of different places, but then you'll get a call from a couple places in Kingston. Then you'll get a call from Mobe, Negril, Ochi, and you start to get that buzz now within the tourism. And then all of a sudden, Belize, one of the smaller Caribbean islands, calls you, and you see them. They're putting out music and they're going to the shows and they're constantly. You get tired of them after a while, and then what happens? Boom, U.S. visa comes in. Once the U.S. visa comes in, they're gonna hit the D.C., the New York, the Florida, the Connecticut. They're gonna hit these states where we are as a diaspora heavy, and then that's when you see their price goes up. And once their price goes up from the states, you'll probably won't hear them in that many parties in Jamaica because their price has outreached the ROI for a Jamaican party. So you'll see them at the big Sumfest. You'll see them at the big Negril and Ochi and Montego Bay parties. Then Canada Visa come through.
But that's the problem, right? You can't just work one market the same way.
But
and essentially people forget you have to continuously, you have to do that over and over and over and over and over again.
But that's
and
why
I think that there's a lack of consistency there because they think that, oh, well, I've got this price here, I'm not going to come back and do this little thing over here. And that's really not the case. Like the work ethic has to transcend, the price, right? Because you'll eventually get to the price. And trust me, all you really need in a catalog is 10 songs in order to say you're a catalog artist. That's not even a full album. 10 songs can carry you to perform until you can no longer perform anymore.
10? My man Omi is still going.
With one.
Is
it?
Motivation.
Yes, exactly.
I just saw him.
I hate to cut off this conversation, but oh my God, this is so good. I have to run though.
No, I totally understand. But no, that's where music is, and you're seeing it. Enhance is going through it right now. Yes. Valiant went through it. Skeng went through it. And Enhance Skilly, but Skilly's doing a little bit better than most.
Well, he's getting a lot of good features.
He's getting his little mainstream.
Yeah.
Mainstream.
He's getting really good features, and I think that's good for him, but he also kind of needs to
he got to
drop his own hit again. Him need that next one.
I need to leave my girl Shantia alone and let her experiment. I tell everybody that, but I know you have to go
quite well. I think she's doing good. I think she's on a good trajectory. So
I think we're just getting jealous because she's leaving us.
No, I don't think so. I think she left a little bit, but then she rally on back for on this album, and I think she'll continue to do that. But thank you guys so much for all of the conversation. We probably I feel like we need a part 3 because we had so much to talk about. But thank you.
But thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Mikey T, Carrie Ann. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode. And like I always say, Leah Tummy Peeps.
Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Style and Vibes podcast. If you like what you hear, and I know you do, share it with your friends and family. If you want more, make sure you visit styleandvibes.com and follow us on our social channels, Twitter and Instagram @Style and Vibes. Until next time, Leah Tummy Peeps.